the governor of the central bank, Agustin Carstens, also a candidate to run the IMF. I hope you can hear me now, sir. My question to you was why you should run the IMF.
Well, first of all, good afternoon. Well, I think that I have all the qualifications to run the institution. I have 30 years of public service. I have a PhD from the University of Chicago. I have worked through all my life in matters relevant for the fund. I was executive director of the fund, deputy managing director of the fund, in charge of the relationship with 80 countries. I was Minister of Finance of Mexico, and now I'm Governor of Central Bank. So I have wide experience. I have participated in the G20. I am part of the steering committee of the Financial Stability Board. I'm a board member of the Bank for International Settlements. So I know the institution from all different angles. I know the fund as a member of the staff and member of its management. I was executive director, and of course I know the fund having been an authority with a lot at stake at the fund. So I think I make a good candidate.
It's an impressive resume, but Europe appears to be united behind Christine Lagarde. She appears to be the front runner. How do you stack your own odds up versus her right now? Can you beat her?
Yes, well, you know, at the end of the day, the membership will have to make up their mind. What we are calling for is to have an open, transparent, merit-based process, which is what head of states committed in different G20 meetings and also at the IMFC meetings at the fund. I think what different countries should do is compare resumes, compare experiences, hear the candidates, and make up their mind. If the process is done in that way, I have a chance.
Who's backing your candidacy? Which countries right now, besides Mexico?
Well, right now it's I cannot say much about that, because most countries are studying, are waiting to see who are all the candidates who are out there. I have heard expressions of sympathy, but most countries in a responsible way are waiting to see who all the candidates are, to evaluate them, and based on their merits to make up their mind.
Expressions of sympathy, you've had positive indications, you say? I mean, can we assume that some of the BRIC nations are going to throw their weight behind you? I know Brazil's finance minister says he's waiting to hear your positions.
Well, I issued yesterday a statement that it has been distributed, and once that statement is analyzed, I hope that some people will think more seriously about me.
China, where does China stand?
I don't know well exactly where it is. I saw some press releases today with some indications that they might be backing Minister Lagarde, but I haven't heard directly from the Chinese.
Well, obviously, the United States has a lot of weight in these matters. What conversations have you had with officials here in the United States, perhaps with the Treasury Secretary, Tim Geithner?
Well, it's an ongoing process. I have had some conversations, but you know, again, what I'm expecting is everything to be based on a transparent, open way, and we will have more news about who is behind whom once all the candidates are out.
Okay. Well, if the emerging markets want a greater voice in affairs at the IMF, are you supportive of the emerging markets contributing more money to the IMF? And, you know, what changes for the emerging world if someone from Mexico is in that chief's position?
Well, certainly we are supporting that emerging markets have a much stronger voice at the fund. I think we have a lot of very valuable experience that we can contribute. We also should have more of a contribution in the quotas of the fund. But I'm in a position that emerging markets should not only ask for more participation, more voice, but also more responsibility. I think also emerging markets should be in a position to do more to help a more stable, more prosperous world economy.
What's your vision for Greece and the debt crisis?
Well, right now, I don't think I am in a position to give an opinion about the specifics. You should understand that there are negotiations in place. I'm an outsider. Needless to say, I hope that the situation is resolved in a positive way relatively soon.
But up to this point, do you think that the IMF is on the right track? Do you agree with the policies in place?
The IMF should help countries, in particular Greece, Portugal, Ireland, to take difficult decisions. The fund is there precisely for that, to help countries take the tough decisions. And I think that should be the role the fund should play. At the end of the day, the issue will not be resolved if Greece, Portugal, and Ireland do not take the decisions they need to take. And the fund should be there to help them take those decisions.
It seems like the prime argument for a European to remain in leadership is that the debt crisis is unraveling there on that continent right now. What political heft, what leverage do you have over European leaders to push them at the negotiating table that one of their neighbors, a candidate from one of their neighboring countries, doesn't have?
What is useful for the institution and for the membership is to have somebody with experience, no? I mean, the fund has been very successful in cases of crisis in Asia, in Latin America, and the crises were solved with a European managing director. So I don't see why to solve and the fund have the capacity to contribute to solve the crisis in Europe, and European need to be the managing director. Also, let me make the following point. Right now, the crisis is in Europe, but we don't know where the next crisis will be. And therefore, we need a managing director that is there for all the membership and who has the capacity to contribute to the resolution of issues in all the world.
Are there parts of the world that you're worried about right now? When you say we don't know where the next crisis is, do you see one brewing? Well,
right now, basically, we're concerned about Europe and obviously the Middle East and North Africa. Especially in the Middle East and North Africa, they're in the process of entering into a very important transformation from a political and economic point of view. And needless to say, they need a lot of support from the international community.
Okay. Well, good luck to you, Governor. Thank you for making time and making your case here on InBusiness. We'll have to leave it there.